Hey, Star Wars fans and Rule the Galaxy fans. It is Joe. Sorry if you're watching on YouTube or Twitter right now. You just saw me checking my phone because some of the other guys are leaving me messages and I'm trying to watch that and watch the screen at the same time. But as usual, thanks for following. Thanks for listening. We're at 257, episode 257 right now. So thanks for always following along and being a part of what we do. And tonight we have a very special guest, one of my favorite authors, a gentleman who has written some books that mean a lot to me. And if you're watching on YouTube right now, to him right there, one of my favorites in Kenobi, and the new one, The Living Force, Mr. John Jackson Miller. John, thank you so much for being a part of the show. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Joe. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Speaking before we got on here, we both had crazy weeks so far, so I'm glad.
It's any week before a Star Wars book is a crazy week, but this was busy.
Well, I will tell you, I've really enjoyed your updates. You've been doing the countdown, character by character. So that thanks for doing that online and keeping us all up to date. And we feel just truly blessed and so excited. I mean, last week we had Claudia Gray, who we think has done some good, great Star Wars books. You've done some great Star Wars books. So we just feel like top of the world to feel like our podcast can talk to you great authors. So we'll just jump right in if that's okay. I know I
Sure
sent
enough.
over some questions and we've got some limited time here on things, but I know you started off doing things with the comics retailer and comics buyer guide. Back in the day before you started into writing the novels and everything like that. What was that kind of the impetus for you to get into writing? Was doing work on that, or were there other things that prompted you into becoming a writer?
Well, no, I go way back. I mean, my mother was a grade school librarian, so she encouraged reading. She was also a movie fan. She encouraged me to watch movies, took me to a lot of them, including Star Wars,
Good.
among others. It's always been something I was interested in, something I was doing. I was a comics fan, so I was drawing my own comics and writing my own comics and all of that. As you mentioned, Comics Buyer's Guide. That was a weekly newspaper that ran almost 1,700 issues from like 1971 to 2013, I think it was. I went to work there 30 years ago at this point, and editing both that, editing for that, and writing for that, and also editing a trade magazine for the comics industry called Comics Retailer. And that's where because I had a journalism degree among other things. I had been writing on the nonfiction side of things. I'd been writing about these things. I wrote about Star Wars comics. I wrote about Star Wars card games because I edited a magazine called Scry, which was the card game magazine
Okay.
for like Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
And so all of that kind of thing, and so I got to know people with Star Wars, Star Trek, these various other franchises, and of course at Marvel and various other publishers, and so I got in at Marvel in 2003. Wrote a comic series based on a villain of Iron Man's called the Crimson Dynamo, and then that
Okay.
led to a year on Iron Man. And that led to me working with Dark Horse Comics, almost 20 years ago now. Starting work, I did basically a single issue tryout, and then that led to me getting the Knights of the Old Republic comic series, and
Mhm.
that lasted a good 5 years. So, and then the novels come after that.
Awesome. Awesome. That's a wild and varied background right there. So that's awesome. And I think, just looking at my notes here, one of the things that I don't think gets enough credit is, and I know it's off script, so I apologize, but the Lost Tribe of the Sith series.
Yeah.
Um, I was very intrigued by that, and it's been a while since I've read through that and everything like that, but those were very enjoyable. It was kind of in a
Yeah.
different realm, a different
Yeah.
era, and you could kind of be free to do what you wanted to do to a certain extent, right? And
Yeah, I had a sandbox to be able to you're right in because it it was a planet that nobody was ever going to visit for 5,000 years, and so I just had to make sure that I was wrapped up long before Luke Skywalker got there, and indeed we were. That was 9 stories plus a comic series,
yeah.
and that book is on its 20th printing. It is the little engine that could.
Wow. Wow. You know what? I think I still got the guide, the compendium guide to that in the comic right here behind me. If we had more time, I would go searching and people could see my balding head in the screen, but we'll bypass that. All I know, it was a lot of fun, and I appreciate you writing that. w- when it comes to your writing, do you have a process you go through? I mean, is it more of, hey, here's an idea I've got for you, Lucasfilm, Star Wars, or whatever series, or do people come to you more often than not with an idea and you fill in the blanks and start going?
Well, in licensed fiction and comics, they pretty much come to you and say, "We'd like you to propose something,"
Okay.
and then you either have very strict guidelines as to what you want to do or what they want you to do, or it's fairly loose. So, an example of a graphic novel that I had come out earlier this year called Skull and Bones, which is for the Ubisoft pirate ship game. Um,
Okay.
that was something where they were very specific. We want to actually, showcase our game. We want to showcase various parts of the gameplay, and we want there to be a character that sort of is like the player character.
Right.
But I had my freedom. Me and my co-author James Mishler. We went through the catalog of everything they had, and we said, okay, we're going to use this faction leader and that faction leader, and we're going to the story was mostly ours. But there were guiding principles at the beginning that we were kind of following. And then likewise with the Living Force, it was suggested to me they wanted a Jedi Council novel. And then I had the notion of what I would do, and that is pretty much 99.9% from there. Me and my editor Tom Holler coming up with what we were doing. There are cases where you can, once you're established, go there and say, "Hey, I have this idea,"
Right.
and that was the case with Kenobi. But again, it was something that was not totally unsolicited because Dark Horse had said we'd like to maybe do a graphic novel, an original graphic novel for the 30th anniversary of Star Wars, and I proposed what ended up being the novel, except I proposed it as a comic book, and we couldn't do it then, and I shelved the idea and came back to it 6 years later.
Okay. Wow. Brent on our show always talks about the movie process and how something can be an idea and get shelved and then come back years later or reworked. And I didn't even think about it being that way in either the comic or the novel world.
Yeah.
But that's kind of interesting to hear on that. So I'm guessing your Star Wars fandom started like mine in '77, right? I mean,
Yeah.
is that where you kind of got hooked? And did Kenobi? I know with writing the book and so forth, did he stand out then as a character that you got attached to, or was there any other character in the Star Wars fandom that you were really drawn to?
At 9 years old, I was just into the whole thing. So I tended to focus more on the characters that I actually was able to get the action figures for. So in the beginning, I had Darth Vader, R2D2, and a C3PO that had a broken leg. Actually, he had a fused leg, but my father broke the leg so that it would actually swing, and he put a pin in it. So I have this Obi-Wan Kenobi that does this kick dancing thing like a rockhead. Or Obi-Wan Kenobi, a C3PO. C3PO.
Yeah.
One of those things. I was always confused at the time. I said Obi-Wan Kenobi. That sounds like a droid's name. That I didn't quite get what they were doing with that. But yeah, I mean, certainly as the years went on, I realized, okay, Obi-Wan Kenobi is a character that has this history that we haven't seen. There was an issue of the Marvel comic series in 1979
Yes.
that issue 24 that spotlighted him. and yep, right there, Silent Drifting.
Yep.
And
Love that.
much of that material is inoperative currently, but that's all right. And so I like the idea that you could fill in the blanks on these things with these characters.
I agree. And I selfishly, while I'm sitting there, I was like, I'm going to find that uh, Lost Tribes of the Sith. Yeah, well, I'll find it later. That's okay.
Well, I think I actually have up here the Lost Tribe of the Sith
there-
cover on the wall. So
There we go. See, you've taken care of my work for me.
Yep.
Well, that's cool. Is there, in the work you've done for Star Wars, is there a favorite work that you've done? And we'll get to Living Force. Living Force might be the answer. But up until now, has there been a favorite either book or comic or part of Star Wars that you've been involved with that stands out to you?
Yeah, it's hard to play favorites. I mean, obviously Kenobi is my most famous novel. Knights of the Old Republic is my most famous comic series. I'll do little projects like I did a novella for episode 8 in the Canto Bight collection that they did called The Ride, and it was this story where it was just about 4 of the background characters in the casino, one of whom is a card player with a system who has one night to make 1 million credits, and the 3 little green guys that you see in the movie that take all the money away from him. And I wrote this story, which is just a wild ride with them. And I suppose it could have been written not just for, or not necessarily in Star Wars, but in something else too, or in a different franchise. But it felt more like a Star Wars thing, and it felt fun. And it is just the sort of thing where I was able to let the sort of the sense of humor that I bring to my stories. I try to have some comedy in every story. That one was lots of comedy. So it was one of those things. And in the Living Force, there are some definite laughs in this book, I think. So
I agree. We'll get to it in a second because I want to cover lots of stuff you did before that. But I will say there's a lot of character involvement where you see and it draws a laugh just on the way the character either has something to say or how they react, and seeing how uncomfortable some of them are in the situations they're in, which I really liked. Before we get to that, is there a fandom outside of Star Wars? I know you've done some Star Trek books, but is that the fandom you think you'd lean towards, like outside of Star Wars, or are there other fandoms that stand out to you as like your favorite?
Oh, there's a variety. I mean, Star Trek, obviously, that's something that I've written, 8 novels in now, and that's where I write a certain kind of story, because you can't really write a science fiction story where science is the major element in Star Wars, because it's just not something we do. We don't really get into why things work. You just assume that they do, and when they don't, we kick it.
Right.
Or we let R2 fix it. And that's how that goes. But I mean, obviously that's a big one. But no, I mean, I've got, Marvel Comics, DC Comics, a variety of other franchises that I was into. And then, I just have, as a collector, a lot of, peculiar things that I've got. I've got something like 1,200 TV guides. And so I just, happened to be reading through the TV guide from the week of May 21st, 1977 last night. And that's the week, obviously, that Star Wars came out, and the preceding week. And it's just interesting to me. The Sunday, not the Sunday before Star Wars, but a week and a half before Star Wars, NBC had a big event called $1 Billion Movies, where they did a thing about the top 12 movies, which together had made $1 billion. And so Jaws was number 1. And then we got Gone with the Wind and all these others there. And it's just amusing looking at that ad for that, because you're saying, okay, this will last here for maybe a week before we're going to have to change the listings. and there's I'll see things that I saw the Saturday night before Star Wars came out. There was a horror TV show pilot on NBC that I never knew what it was until years later, and it's actually on YouTube, and I realized that's what it is. It was a pilot for a TV series called Spectre, which was kind of an X-Files or with magic in it kind of a thing, that Gene Roddenberry produced. Nice. And Majel Barrett is in it, and as you would expect. So, and I'm like, wow, I saw that on TV, and that was Star Wars week. I didn't realize that. So I'm amused by that. I'm amused by the fact that the night that the movie debuted in many cities on the 25th, that was the night that had the very last new episode of the Brady Bunch Variety Hour.
Oh my gosh.
If you couldn't get to see the movie, that's what you had on TV.
That's fantastic. You talking about TV guides made me go right to thinking about the Seinfeld episode. Where Costanza's dad has the collection there. So
the hardcore collectors don't just want the week; they want the particular city.
Oh man, see, I wouldn't even have thought of that. That's awesome.
Well, there's 190 editions of these things, so there you go.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, depending on the year.
Oh wow. Okay. See, yeah. I'm learning new stuff. It's like I'm watching Jeopardy right now.
Well, no, I'm
John Jackson Miller. So
I'm lucky to be in the area where one of the rarest versions came out, and that's the Northern Wisconsin edition. So all the ones we find here are there.
So before I know I'm trying to watch the clock and make sure I get everything in here. So one of the things I've noticed a lot on your social media, and it seems like there's a complete circuit of this, and we've been lucky enough to interview people who are doing this, whether it's Vanessa Marshall or Nika Futterman or Emily Swallow recently. The convention circuit, you seem to be having a lot of fun with that. Is it as fun as you make it appear to be? And do you find some really cool things happen to you and are just mind blowing? Like when you're sitting there and all these fans are coming up and you're meeting these other people who are in the Star Wars universe. How enjoyable are they? Because I only go to a few. I can't jump around all those things, but it seems like you have a great time and really get some good out of those.
I've kind of rediscovered it. I started going back, when I was a teenager in the 80s. I just went back for something like the 23rd time to my hometown convention in Memphis, which is called Mid-South Con. And again, it is just sort of surreal to be attending and speaking and signing at an event that I used to wander around as a kid. I think and certainly in my business, going back to the magazines I worked for, I was getting to go to San Diego and things like that as part of the job, and that was really kind of cool. I kind of have rediscovered it, particularly after the pandemic. I kind of said, I'm going to try to just go as often as I can, because awesome. As is feasible, because I do enjoy talking to folks. I do enjoy that interaction. And, I just remember that terrible day, March 1st, 2020, when we were at the last day on Sunday at GalaxyCon Richmond, and we were looking around saying, are we ever going to be able to do this again? and then it was another year and a half. So there you go.
And I'm going to talk to you about Kenobi real quick and the Living Force, obviously, because we want to talk about that. But does it just sit there and it's got to warm your heart when you're sitting there and people come up and say, Kenobi was my favorite book, or I love the Knight Errant, or I love New Dawn, how that was the first step in the new Disney Lucasfilm book era and all that. I mean, you got to pinch yourself sometimes and think, I'm this lucky to have people make it a big deal to come see me about these things.
It is fun. It's good to be attached to these things. I mean, one of the things you trade when you're doing tie-ins is, you're not necessarily getting the movie rights and everything that you would normally get if you're writing your own book. But you get that connection to the larger franchise and the exposure that brings, and people are able to sort of plug into what you're doing as part of their overall fandom of other things. So yeah, I definitely do enjoy it, and it's always just a challenge because whenever my schedule is set for conventions, and my schedule for writing is not necessarily come up with at the same time,
Right.
and so these things have to be balanced out.
No. Well, while you were talking, you see one of our regular co-hosts, Brent Dykman, is joining us here. Brent is, as usual, working on some of his Star Wars Legion, dioramas that he's making for the game and everything like that. Brent, John, at one point in time, was writing for a magazine that was all with the card playing universe. And what are the recent cards you've been into at Star Wars?
So what game were you writing for? Was it Destiny? Was it way back when? Like how long ago are we talking?
Well, no, he's talking about collectible card games.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was the editor of Scry magazine, so that was the magazine that Magic the Gathering and the Star Wars CCG were advertised in, and other stuff. And then I did role playing stuff a little bit for Wizards of the Coast.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So ever since I've gotten into this wargaming stuff, those are all names that I've heard. And it's funny that they're Scry because that's the mechanic in Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
And I've only learned.
It was our word first, but we both got it from somewhere else.
Sure, right. So and I only learned that word and that mechanic, I don't know, maybe a month ago. So there's a Star Wars new card game called Star Wars Unlimited. So essentially, people who played was it the other one from FFG that I just mentioned? Anyways, I can't even think of the name of it right now. Destiny, that's right. The one with Destiny where you roll dice and stuff like that. They say it plays a lot and they think it reminds them of that game. It reminds me a lot of Magic the Gathering. There's 2 lanes. You can play space cards. You can play ground-based vehicles. So there's 2 lanes where you can attack. Space really only attacks space and ground only attacks ground unless there's some wombo combo type stuff you can do. And it's really, really flavored for the Star Wars world. One of my favorite cards is I Am Your Father's the title of the card. It is a Darth Vader. So the villainy plays it. And either it deals 7 damage to a unit, or if I say no, the Vader person draws 3 cards. So you can so it's you can say no, or you can say no, like you want to.
Well, these days I mostly play Star Realms, but I just saw that I think they got a Star Trek license for that. So we'll see what else they get. I don't know.
Is that like the ship-based game? Is it a ship-based flying game?
It's Star Realms is one-on-one common deck card game.
So like a deck build is still like a deck game. Yeah. So this is deck building. It's a trading card game. So so they throw those collectibles into it.
Jack up the price.
I just opened up. Well, so I bought a Boba Fett and I sold it for $50. Some of the cards, if you open them up, there is a special showcase leader, which is the major chase card, right? And that thing, if you open the Boba Fett chase card, he's gonna pull one out.
Yeah. So I wrote the book on
absolutely
prices for these
absolutely
things.
Right.
There we go.
So this one
was just the card games that existed in 2003. So
right.
I mean,
and so this one
800 pages.
And so you're probably going to add another 200 pages. Just
Not me.
Star Wars.
I'm out.
Correct. But so this one, I think it just launched sometime in March.
Okay.
So it's literally been out. It's already going out of print, not out of print, but they overprinted. They were like, hey, we plan to sell a lot, and they're already through the allotment that they printed. So it's going to dry up. However, they've spent time developing this game. Just like Magic, they drop sets. They're going to drop 3 sets a year. The first one in March, the second one in July, and then the third one in November. The second one, they've already kind of teaser trailered. It's got Mandalorian, Grogu, Moff Gideon, Dark Troopers, Moff Gideon's light cruiser, and all of those have light combos with them. And then the third set is when they get into the Clone Wars, and they're going to drop Clone Wars stuff with that. So obviously you can pick But I was going to get into that showcase. That showcase one right now, if you go online for Boba Fett, is like $700. People are willing to pay $700 for that card
Well,
because it's Boba Fett. So
all this money
Fett
that,
where?
that Joe won't spend or won't get into. John, I'm gonna switch gears, and because I don't want to keep you too long, we're gonna get into the Living Force to finish up. But I will first say, I don't have an actual hard copy of A New Dawn because I bought it audio. It was one of the first books I got audio only, and I just listened to it, like once a year, and I love A New Dawn. And again, thanks for doing that, because I felt like, a lot of people look at it and go, man, the title is just like a double meaning, right? It's a new dawn of what's going on, but it's also a new dawn in the Lucasfilm Star Wars, or Disney Star Wars. So thank you for that. This one, Kenobi is my guy, and when I got this book, it is something I reread, once a year, and I mean, it's just one of my favorites. So thank you for doing that. And one time I'm going to meet you up at a convention or whatever and have you sign that, because it's near and dear to my heart. But let's jump into the Living Force, because you guys were kind enough to give me the digital copy, and then I'm finishing up on the hard copy here. I'm going to throw my 2 cents in first and just say, being an original trilogy guy. Oh, go ahead, Brent.
Have you lifted the embargo? Are we breaking rules here?
No, we can talk about it, right?
Okay,
we just can't give away spoilers, right, John?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is a non-spoiler one because we're live.
Yeah, but we're not spoiler. I was just going to give an overall
No, you're good.
Yeah,
because isn't it? It's coming up though. Like it's like next week.
It's Tuesday.
Yeah,
okay,
it'll be out on Tuesday the 9th, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So
continue. Sorry.
No, I was not going to go into any spoilers whatsoever. Believe me, I know the rules. I don't want to get in trouble. I want to have John back someday. The only way I can do that is not breaking the rules.
Sure.
But what I will say is, being an original trilogy guy, and then watching my son grow up with the prequels and living it through his eyes, I fell in love with these characters just like I was in love with the original trilogy characters. But I think what you've done so well in the Living Force is, I think we all wanted to know more about that council. We all wanted to know more of who they were, their personalities, what was it, what was going through their mind. And I think you did in this book such a great job. How many years before Phantom Menace is this?
It's 1 year.
1 year. Okay. 1 year before. So obviously we're getting ready to go into some major things. I have like a couple chapters left of this book, but so I kind of wanted to talk to you and then hit in the end and see how it finishes on me. But I just think you made it personal. And I think that's a big thing, because so many Star Wars fans will look back at the prequels and say, oh, wow, we had a lot of potential with all these different characters that we saw briefly. And we didn't get to know them except for either when they were sitting in a chair or when they got killed off in Revenge of the Sith, right? And so for me, going through this book and seeing the relationships and their backgrounds and the ways they felt about things was incredible. Give me, kind of the 30,000 foot view of your thoughts on what you did there with the Living Force.
Well, I wanted to give the characters something to do, something important that was meaningful. And, that's not always easy, because you say, well, send them to a diplomatic retreat or something and they'll get attacked and that'll be whatever. You want to actually have it mean something. And so I pretty much, when I was offered the book, my next email was, I know exactly what I want to do. I want to have Qui-Gon Jinn walk into the Jedi Council chamber and say, "You guys really need to get out of this room. I'm not on the council for a good reason, and one of them is that you sit here. You sit here. You look out the window. It's nice. Every so often somebody comes in. You make them feel uncomfortable, and then they leave. Why don't you actually go out and see if you can actually help somebody?" That is, in a nutshell, the challenge that he offers. This is not a spoiler because it's on the back cover.
Yeah.
And Mace Windu says, "Okay, you're on." And they go to a planet that is depicted physically in the book, which is kind of cool, because we have the map that is in black and white in every edition.
Yep.
And then we have the Barnes and Noble special edition, which has a lovely poster on one side and then on the other side, it's got the color version of the map, which is kind of cool. And
cool.
that's and it is a particular planet that represents both the high point of the Jedi and what is certainly approaching a lower point, which is that they had all these great works back in the High Republic era, back when things were good, and now because of the corruption in the Republic, nepotism and intrigue, and the Emperor, and all the stuff going on, things are starting to go wrong. And in particular, there's this one place that they all remember going to, and that they played a role in rescuing years ago, and they feel that place has been left behind. That is a large part of the story, and how the Jedi interact with the people they find there, how the Jedi interact with one another, because I don't just have the 12 go individually out. I sometimes there's a buddy cop story that's going on, that's how that works. And then I have a significant threat, a villain, a menace that is out there waiting for the Jedi to make a mistake. I even get to put in some stuff that I really dig, about the Republic Navy, and how how its origins came to be. So all of these things are in there, plus Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, and just a lot of humor.
I won't spoil it, but I love the touch point on Empire Strikes Back in the book. People will notice that there are some High Republic touch points in there, obviously. I think those are great. I think one of the characters that stood out to me so much in there was Ki-Adi-Mundi. I think we only see certain points of him, and he's very straightforward, to the point, in the movies, and to see him interact socially, I think, was one of those enjoyable things. You mentioned some laughs in there, and I would sit there and be like, he's very awkward and uncomfortable right now. That's pretty funny.
Well, I mean, what I do is I kind of look at these characters and what we know about them, and I see, well, okay, well, how do we make life hard for them? How do we make them uncomfortable? And then we have the interactions between characters, and we realize that we're not, seeing these characters, even though we're seeing the first conversations between some of these characters in printed form. Obviously, they've known each other for years, and so you want to have the feeling in this book that these people have been arguing for a long time, or debating for a long time, or friends for a long time, or whatever. So, Ki-Adi, has an arc where he's traveling with Uriel Poof, and Uriel's whole deal is he's 300, 400, 700, however old he is, he's just past it. He doesn't care anymore. He's bored, and he's trying to entertain himself. And if that means by making Ki-Adi-Mundi uncomfortable every so often, or whatever, he will. And of course, Ki-Adi is like, I know what you're doing. Stop. I'm just not going to listen. And then you get characters that are just as old as Uriel is, like Apo Rancisis, where he's like, okay, yeah, we you have changed, and not for the better. I remember you a long time ago, and this is and that's the kind of the way that friends are and coworkers are, who have known each other for a long time. And we get that kind of dynamic for characters that haven't really necessarily worked together for as long a time, like Yoda and Adi Gallia, where it's really clear that her youth and energy is being not taken advantage of, but Yoda is definitely leaning on her to do a lot of stuff. And she's volunteering to do a lot of stuff. And the problem right now with the Jedi is they're doing too much stuff on Coruscant. They need to actually be, if there's a way they can delegate some of the political stuff somewhere else, that would be great.
It's amazing because as you read it, you do start seeing the conniving and things going in the background that are leading to. So you did a great job of making it see. No wonder certain things fell in the future because they were so tied up in all these things that they thought, were taking up so much of their time. I think one of the other things is they all were told by Qui-Gon to go and do something or interact and, do something good. And it came down to sometimes they would just do something nice for someone in an individual little basis. And they were like, see, even that small little act of kindness or a small little act of help was the thing you needed to go out and do in society, right? Instead of sitting in that room and looking out those windows. So I thought that was well played.
And the Jedi are not all unified necessarily in their reactions to these things. Sazy Tin, his opinion is kind of like, yeah, we've got people for that. It's really not our job to go out and do the individual connections. We've done that. We used to do that. That was this is what the Knights are for. This is what everybody is for. And there's something to that. I mean, I remember there was an episode of The West Wing where your President Bartlett goes to try to help the tornado victims, and he won't leave. And they say, "Okay, you actually need to go because it's not you've got people for this."
Right.
And this is kind of one of the cool things about having the 12 masters is they can have different views about what the Jedi's job is. And or what a Jedi should be doing, and even so, they all kind of I think get something out of this trip.
I agree. I think of nothing else with Phantom Menace coming back out on May 3rd or May 4th this year, right? If listeners, viewers right now of the show check out this book in enough time to get done to go see the movie, you're gonna see little sparks in your mind to remind you of the way these characters are outside of the little bits you see them in Phantom Menace, and it's going to open you up a little bit to say these are better characters than maybe that snippet of them just in the council room that you see. So I really look forward to people kind of reading this, coming back to that, and saying, "Oh, okay, and you have a little more depth." So. I really enjoyed it. I know Brent hasn't read it yet. I know the crew hasn't read it yet. Obviously, I was fortunate enough, like I said, to be able to do that. And I wanted to make sure I actually sat there and said, I don't want to see the end until I've spoken with you. I kind of want to get right up to it and then go, okay, now I'm going to go buzz through the end of it and be like, man, that's an awesome ending, whatever.
It's really terrible that everybody got hit by a bus in chapter 6.
Oh, come on.
No.
Go ahead, Brent.
So what did you use as your research and your influence for this story? And did you create the island? Was the island given to you?
Oh,
what are some of the background of that you can talk about, or what you can't talk about? I get, but what was some of your research and influence?
I looked up basically every canon appearance that I could find with the counselors, but then also I read a lot of the earlier ones too, so that there are characters who might not necessarily have the exact backstories that they had back in the Dark Horse comics, but the stories should rhyme. They should feel like they connect somewhat. Excuse me. In the case of the planet Quen, the planet existed, but the surface didn't. We didn't know what was there, and so that was a case where I was able to actually build this archipelago and craft it to my needs, and we got to the end of it, and I said, well, I've got the map. Let's run the map, and then we got the map in every edition, and then I said, well, I've also got it. I can make it bigger in color, and so we got the Barnes and Noble edition. I had just done a book for Strange New Worlds for Star Trek called The High Country, which was the first Star Trek novel with planetary maps, and so I had gotten a little used to that, it's. I think people like that interdisciplinary stuff. Lost Tribe of the Sith maps.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the cool thing about it.
So did the map influence the story, or did the story influence the map? And how fun is it to create an environment?
I one of the things that I do is when I have a thing like that going on, I'll have a dry erase board with the locations on magnets or on index cards on magnets. So I'm constantly moving things around, saying, okay,
Nice.
these two places need to be near each other. These places don't. This is east of this. This is west of this.
Nice.
I got to keep that stuff straight. And so
sure.
and so and I obviously I'll say, yeah, the story is what drives everything. And I'll say, okay, this place is got to be more remote than the other place. And so I'll make sure that is programmed onto whatever my brain is geographically. But then what I'll do is I can look at the end, and as I'm sweeping back through it, I can add some color there. World building is a thing that obviously a lot of people in science fiction and fantasy do. I almost never start with the world. I start with the story. The story tells me what the world looks like.
Okay, that's what
Nice.
Unless it's something where the world is already established, as in the case of the Kenobi novel, where there was a map of Tatooine, and so in that case, I'm actually playing with their map, and I'm crafting my story around. Oh, hey, that's there. Okay, let's do that.
Love it. Love it. Well, I know you mentioned we had some time stuff here, so I don't want to keep you too long. Is there anything else that maybe we didn't cover, or anything you'd like to promote? I know we've got the book coming out on the 9th. All real retailers, everybody go get the Living Force by John Jackson Miller. However you want to get it, audio, hard copy, whoever you're going to buy it through, whatever makes John the most money, make sure you buy it that way. John, what are some things you want to promote and hit?
Okay, we have since we're live at this point, and I guess we're going audio tomorrow.
Yes.
I have a little book tour here in Wisconsin, so we have a live book event at the Barnes and Noble in Appleton, Wisconsin, Tuesday night, the 9th at 6 p.m.
Nice.
Costume contest and stuff at 5:30, and then on that following Saturday, so the 13th. At 1 p.m., I'm at the Barnes & Noble Westtown in Madison, Wisconsin. At 6 p.m., I run over to the one in Mayfair in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And then I've got the C2E2 at the end of April. So that's travel for April. But otherwise, new books coming out. Obviously, the Living Force hardcover audiobook and ebook. The audiobook I'm looking forward to listening to, because that's by Mark Thompson.
Yes.
And the Barnes and Noble special edition is a cool one. Again, because it's got the posters. Any edition, and there's still time to do this. Any one of these editions, if you upload your receipt to readstarwars.com/preorder the Living Force before April 16th, I think it is, you will get a signed book plate mailed to you
Nice.
from Random House. Two other Star Wars releases I have coming out in May. We've got the very first Star Wars comic I mentioned from Dark Horse. That comes out in Marvel's Star Wars Legends: The Rebellion Volume 2 Omnibus.
Okay.
That comes out in the middle of May. The week after that, the most in-demand comic I've got, or graphic novel I've got, comes back out again. That is the Epic Collection for Old Republic Volume 1. That is Knights of the Old Republic, the first third of that book.
Okay.
That came out in 2015, went through 2 printings, and those books are like $300 now.
Wow.
Well, that's being reprinted It's coming out the third week of May, and so people will be able to get it for just the regular price, which will be great. The New Dawn, which you mentioned, is coming out in a trade paperback edition with a fresh cover. This is what they're doing kind of with the other the other sort of airport-sized books or mass market paperbacks. And then finally, just out this week, that the Star Trek Strange New Worlds novel is out in trade paperback.
Wow, a busy
You
man.
seriously, you're knocking them out of the park, man.
Well, I'm
Do you
not
find
even
time
done.
to breathe.
I'm not even done, but yeah, I got to quit.
No, you got it. Well, one, as I stated, some of your books are some of my favorites. So thank you for what you've done. Even the ones, like we didn't talk that much about the Lost Tribe of the Sith and other things that go along with these novels. Thank you for what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. As always, in the future, if you have another book coming out that you feel like you want to promote, we would love to have you on and let you discuss it. I know we barely spend any time on Living Force, but I would say you covered it pretty well, and you can tell I really enjoyed it.
Oh,
and,
very
and
good.
I would promote it to anybody. I just thought it was a really fun book to get you ready for the prequels coming back out again. So keep all your social media going, because I tell you, it's fun watching you on there as well. I hope everything keeps going well in the family and the life and everything, because I know you're busy, but go right ahead. You were going to say
I was
something.
going to say, people can find my notes on all my stories, or almost all of them. So there's an essay on all the Lost Tribe of the Sith stories, for example. All of these things are on farawaypress.com. That's my website. There's a huge essay on Kenobi, a huge essay on New Dawn. The essay on Living Force is going to be a long time in coming, I promise you. I'm not anywhere close to doing that yet.
Okay.
But then on my socials, JJM Faraway on Twitter, and then John Jackson Miller on just about everything else.
You got it. You got it. Well, you, sir, are one of our favorites. We appreciate this. Your second time on the show with us, so thank you very much. Thanks for the time. Again, tell your staff there, thanks for helping me set this up. And anytime you want to come back, you are always welcome, because we're all big fans of yours. And just secretly, we had Mark Thompson on a couple months ago, and I told him about your upcoming book, and I was like, man, it'd be great if you were doing the audio version. And he just sat there and rolled his eyes and looked away, and we were like, oh, okay, well, he's not saying anything. So when you said that, I was like, yes, because we love Mark Thompson. He's great. So,
oh, very good.
But go have a great evening. Get everything caught up. Thanks for your time, and we will talk to you very soon. Thank you for the copy, and I'll keep promoting it to everybody.
All right, may the force be with you.
You as well.
And
Thanks.
also with you. It's kind of religious of us, and also with you.
It was. I felt like we were in church. Like we should be shaking hands right now. When are we going for the bread and wine?
That's what you're getting awfully close to breaking that embargo. I was worried about it.
March 26th was when we could start talking about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like April 12th is when you could start talking
the book comes out April 9th, and they said we can start giving general reviews March 26th. And I did see our good friend Vanessa Marshall put out a nice little thing promoting it and saying how much she liked the book as well. So, we're allowed to talk in generalities.
Sure.
We just can't give things away. But I would, really.
Spoiler alert! It's about the Clone Wars era.
It's about the prequel era. So there you go. It's
sorry, right prequel. Before,
yeah.
It's prior to the Clone Wars. It's 1 year prior to Phantom Menace. I listened.
There you go. So for everybody who's listening, we'll take a quick, pause and everything, because I think Alfie and D-Doc will be here in a moment. But what I will say is, John Jackson Miller is a great guy. He's been on our show twice. He doesn't have to do that, but to take the time and talk about his book and talk about some of his other books and his other writings is just great. And he's a good guy up in Wisconsin. And he mentioned April 13th, he will be doing some book signings in Wisconsin. So if you get a chance, you're in the Wisconsin area, either the 9th, he'll be in Wisconsin doing some books. Go to farawaypress.com, because that's his website. But also on the 13th, we are putting some things together here, because if you're in or around Central Indiana, the Indy 11 soccer team, the minor league soccer team here, will be doing Star Wars night. I was speaking with them earlier today, and there might be some chances that we're going to have some promotions going on with the Indy 11. We might have some of their staff coming on here soon to promote that night. And if you were going to be in Central Indiana around Saturday, April the 13th, go to Indy 11, go check it out. The tickets are very inexpensive. They're going to have all kinds of things from the 501st and things like that, trivia, all kinds of fun stuff. So we'd love to see you there if you can be there. And we're going to try to see if we can put some of the crew down there and say hi to everybody. It'll be fun. I might even have my grandson bouncing around with me. Let's hope they'll let us bring lightsabers. That would be fun. Walking around with some lightsabers at the Indy 11 game. So again, thanks to John Jackson Miller. Go check out The Living Force. It's a lot of fun. It really is. And he is right. There's some comedic things in there because you just see these people who usually you think of sitting in that room doing nothing except thinking, going out and have to face like people in public, and it's just awkward scenes, and it's great. So so that was fun, and I really appreciate it. I mean, Claudia Gray, John Jackson Miller, we've met Timothy Zahn. We're kicking butt and taking names on.
Don't forget about Drew Karpyshyn.
Karpyshyn, oh my gosh,
yeah,
yes.
like the Knights of the Old Republic. Oh yeah, he wrote the novel. We had the guy who wrote the novels on.
Kevin Scott.
Kevin Scott. Like we're talking like you name the Star Wars book. I think we've talked to the author.
The only one we haven't gotten on air yet is Timothy Zahn, but we did get to meet him and take pictures and talk to him at the ICCC. So, Brent, while we're waiting for the guys, let's see. We've had Bad Batch, episode 10 and 11. We had a nice little drop on us today with...
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, right? I'll believe it when I see it.
Tales of the Empire? Yeah, why would that not happen? That would happen.
Everyone says when there's announcements made, they fall apart.
Well, this one's within weeks. It's going to happen. I mean, it's not like we're talking.
But we didn't hear about it though. No one told me about it before. No, like this is me being the sarcastic jerk about all the people that break these. I don't know. People get so wrapped up in trying to be the first one to talk about something that comes out and then it doesn't come out, so they hate on it. So I was just being facetious about it. I think it looks cool. Like it's not the Tales of the Jedi, it's the Tales of the Empire.
Fantastic.
I want to hear Alfie's point of view because he's not quite our friend Vinny. I think Vinny actually, if we talk to Vinny would love this stuff because Vinny is nothing but a sympathizer for the
Empire and the dark side.
Yeah. So I went to Easter and he was at Easter with the family and we were talking about my Galaxy's Edge trip and he said he went to Galaxy's Edge and he said he wanted to ride Rise of the Resistance and he was there and he was trying to get the cast members to interact with him because he's like, hey, I know who the spy is. The spy's right over there because the whole point of the Rise of the Resistance is they're trying to hide the spy. So he was trying to help the people at the base find the spy because he is nothing but a dirty sympathizer.
Yeah, you are correct. Let's bounce real quick to the 2 episodes of the Bad Batch while we're waiting for these guys. Let's just get our quick initial thoughts on it. We had Identity Crisis and Point of No Return, and I actually really enjoyed both episodes. I know, again, people talk about moving along really fast to get to the end of stuff, but these episodes had to happen, and you needed to see that depth, and you need to see that identity crisis with, let's face it, that was Dr. Carr with the identity crisis, right? I mean, Emery, right? Emery Carr.
Sure.
She's facing thinking, oh, this is just going to be easy. I can walk in and take, and then she sees the reality of it.
Did she think it was going to be easy?
I felt like she put in her time and effort and it was going to be an easier thing and she could be numb to it all, but she couldn't because let's face it, she's similar to Omega. She's from that same cloth.
There's something that's really, really off to me about Carr. And when I say that, like she's almost android off. She almost comes across as being even more unfeeling than the rest of the batch. Yeah, than Tech.
See, I was going to bring this up. She did give off that.
She's a Tech. She gives off Tech vibes.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Like
version of Tech.
A numbness and a not knowing how to socially interact.
Correct.
Yeah. So
I will definitely agree, and like that's the vibes. But there's almost, like I said, that's why there's almost like this androidian. So
yes.
it could be like some autistic spectrum disorder type stuff that's going on with her too.
I and maybe that has something to do with, I mean, let's face it, to be in this Bad Batch, you're all coming in with these things that are making you not the norm. You're the outcast in everything you're in. You're an outcast to the regs, right?
Mhm.
You're an outcast to society.
Right, and yeah,
And the social interaction is just not there. I don't care if you're Crosshair, if you're even Hunter, who's supposed to feel that empathy and be able to have feelings and feel things before they're going to happen. He still has some awkwardness in his
I don't know if I would
social.
say that he's got empathy. I would say that his thing is like spidey senses.
Okay.
It's not necessarily an empathy. Even though he was the first one to say yes to taking on Omega and training Omega, or not take like
Mhm.
protecting Omega, he was the first one there. But I still think that I don't know, I wouldn't say that there's an empathy with him.
All right, I can dig it. I can dig it. But I will say, you know, I loved you. You've got, man, you had Tarkin. You could see the battle going on. Tarkin wants to know. He wants to know what's
Yeah, he
going.
does.
We talked about it before. The Emperor gives everyone just enough.
You're on a need to know basis, my friends.
Correct.
You are on a need to know basis, and all that did was just illustrate how much of a need to know basis you are, because all of us original trilogy fans think that Tarkin knew everything, right? Like they're because he's the Grand Moff, but he didn't know everything, right?
No, I mean, you think about it. You've got Krennic, you've got Tarkin, you've got Vader, you've got all those Moffs and generals who are all chomping at the bit to be, and you got Hemlock. You've got all these people wanting to be the close right-hand person to the Emperor, that power, that you know, and he's keeping them all at arm's length and not letting them each know what's going on.
So here's where I'm going to go with that because of what you said. And I think we're going to get different answers from different people. But is that because of the Force, and that's what the Emperor is trying to force them and using the Force to make them close to him? Or is that because they know he has the power and they want the power? So is it the power grab, or is he forcing it?
Hold on. What do we? Don't forget those bros on the second Death Star. All right, Steve, go further with that, please. Yes, I mean there were some bros on the second Death Star, but where are you going with that? Fill me in. I mean,
I'm thinking the Imperial sympathizers. I'm not sure.
This I want to hear from Mr. Glosson, but
because I don't know if he's Bad Batching it.
I don't know if he's Bad Batching it. I haven't spoken with him about the Bad Batch, so we'll wait and see. But I liked how they had to show the personalization of the characters of the kids that they were taking. Steve's not Bad Batching it at all. So Steve, we're just spoiling everything for you. I'm sorry, but thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of the show.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
Yes. See, Brent even appreciates Steve Glosson. So I think going back to the Dr. Carr, when I was saying she was caught off guard, it was she didn't know the kids were in that situation. She even said they're children, they're kids, right?
Yeah. She didn't know that there were more like what's her name? She thought the girl was the only kid, because she even says, there's adults, why are you doing kids? Why
right.
And then Hemlock, being as evil as he is like, they don't put up a fight.
This is true. And then to have the one get in trouble for breaking out and her having to lie to the kid, even though she didn't know she was lying to the kid.
She didn't know she did, though. So here's the deal. Like, intentional, and that's where I think, is she going to turn, because she didn't think she was lying because she didn't know what had happened. And clearly this has happened before. This isn't the first time the Jolly Green Giant, or somebody posted a video, not the Jolly Green Giant, but one of like little green
I don't know.
it's not. So you know the Jolly Green Giant, the green beans.
Of course I do.
There's right. So there's another little character that's on a
Oh
different
yes,
set of
yeah.
green. Yes, and they said so. I don't know if it's. Anyways, I don't know the name of that brand, but they called him that like my new favorite Star Wars character and put the picture of that.
Okay, because he was a little green guy.
Because he looks like a little green guy, right? And he really kind of looked like that cat.
He looked like
he's clearly tried to break out before.
He looked like Jason Syndulla at the end of Rebels.
Was it?
No, I'm saying he looked like him.
Gotcha.
So Alfie's gonna hop on. We'll look as he's hopping on. We'll get ready and we'll talk all through Bad Batch, 10-11, and the Tales of the Empire, which the animation on that looks fantastic. They just keep getting better and better on that animation, man. It looks so good. It's great that we're getting that kind of. We're going to see a Thrawn in that kind of animation, which is really cool.
Yeah, but he's not going to be fat like he was in Ahsoka.
Oh, come on. That's a long time before Ahsoka.
He had a little paunch on him in Ahsoka.
We all get a paunch with time.
Alfie, what's going on, man? Anyways.
Come on, Alfie.
Not much. Am I in the studio right now?
You're in the studio.
You're actually live.
Okay.
You're live on Rule the Galaxy.
Your camera is off.
Yeah, I don't have
Which
a picture here.
It's okay.
Which is fine. You can
Steve
hide
Lawson,
yourself.
I've had a paunch since kindergarten. Steve, come on now.
Steve, I've wore Huskies since I was 8. So I feel like we're in the same boat, my friend.
It's okay. We can keep going with you just audio right now, Alfie, because I mean, let's face it, you are the most bashful and shy guy on the show, so you probably don't even want to have your picture up. So
no one knows who you are. You're not going to get recognized now.
So mysterious.
That's right.
Broccoli Boy is actually
there. You go, Broccoli Boy. See?
There we go.
The same species, species as Barris and Luminara.
Really? Oh,
really?
it's the chin thing.
Yeah. And the girl is the same species as Sassy 10, and the blue girl is the same species as the senator that lives on the ice world.
Senator Tucci?
Yes.
Is that okay? Hey, Steve, I have a good question for you because Steve's chiming in here. Why do they give husky kids corduroy? Steve, I'm a little nervous.
They don't wear as fast.
That's a fantastic question.
That is a fantastic question. I'm going to say that 1, it doesn't wear down as fast. 2, because of the rubber.
Hold on.
Because
fat kids in corduroy wears down
now,
twice as quick.
Well, wait a minute. Because
you start a fire between your legs.
That's what I'm saying. They get the irritation, so they start walking more and with their legs further apart.
We made a generation bow-legged, is what you're trying to say?
Bow-legged, but also more walking and burns up some of the calories to maybe make them not fat kids. That's where I'm going with it.
Sure. You can see that clearly that didn't work as I stand here as a... right? I'm with you.
Steve, all we're missing right now is an Attenborough talking about corduroys in the hallway. That's what we need right now. And by the way, for everybody who's listening, the only time Steve brings out the Attenborough animal descriptions is on Rule of the Galaxy. He does not use it as a bit on his show. So we like to thank him for that. That we've got the monopolization of that little scene right there. So, hey, we've got D-Doc with us. It's live. D-Doc, we're going live, buddy. How you doing?
I know that we're live. I actually looked up at the screen and saw that I was up here, and I was like, "Holy crap! Okay, let's roll. Let's roll."
Adam Parker's here with us. Thank you, Adam Parker. We appreciate you as always. Adam, I got to get down to Louisiana. I've got to talk Joey this fall and to get me down there and going to an LSU game. So Maybe I'll have a free weekend to go do that. I'm going to talk to the wife because she wants to go down there and hang with T-Bob and have fun with him at an LSU game.
Will you remember that weekend?
I'll go with you. All right.
Okay. All right. I will let them know.
For your livers.
Alfie backed away real quick, so something must be going on with his.
It's showing it's showing a computer. I've never seen that happen before, Alfie.
He's let Azalea mess with his computer too much. So There we go. Adam, we will be there.
So D-Doc, this is kind of what I'm working on right now.
Love it. Little
So
foam mountain action.
Yeah, I got a bunch of them, man. I got like
That's not Brokeback Mountain, right? That's a different kind of mountain.
I mean, like, Joe, you have some questionable jokes sometimes. Sometimes they land, sometimes they don't. I mean,
Kind of like Steve Glosson asking now if he's turned his computer off and back on.
Just like the router, baby. When you were younger, man, my parents thought I was a wizard.
I know, right?
Hey,
You just know all this stuff.
Brent, Steve wants to know what the
Okay, my
diorama is
terrain
for.
stuff,
Yeah,
if
the
that's what
terrain.
he's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I talked about it a little bit. I talk about it all the time. I play that Legion game, Steve. So the current map that I'm trying to create is Dathomir. It's inspired as a mix between Jedi Fallen Order and their Dathomir maps with a lot of high hills, and then the Clone Wars with the forest with the craggly trees. I don't know because I know you're on right now. I'll show you. I've been building these guys, which are like they got a brownish color with the craggly bent trees, which are basically just styrofoam and hot glue, and some tissue paper. And then I've created, and I still have to kind of fully develop these guys. I've created like little necromancer pods that come off of them.
Those look awesome.
Which leads us to Asajj Ventress, who was in one of those, and is now back with us in Bad Batch.
Now, Brent,
So-
that device you just held up right there, you should have looked for like an Easter egg hunt somewhere over the
Yeah.
past weekend and put that in the middle of it, and someone would be like terrified. They would think it's like an episode of True Detective. They would be terrified of what that
Little kids be walking up going,
I mean,
"What
I
is
still
this egg?"
got right.
is. Put that
Yeah.
down. It's the devil.
No, foosball is the devil.
So hey, did you guys see the Happy Gilmore 2 is coming out? How about that?
I'm all in on that, man.
Yeah, we can go with that. So yeah, here we go. We got Boogie Windu. What's up, guys? Just tuned in. Well, I'll let everybody know. We just finished up our interview with John Jackson Miller, which was fantastic. John's got the new book, Star Wars: The Living Force. It's coming out April 9th. It is 1 year before The Phantom Menace. It's fun. It's a good read. Lots of good storylines going on in there leading up to The Phantom Menace, where you get to know the Jedi Council a lot better. And it's a lot of fun. So April 9th, get your copy. He's going to be doing signings next week for like a week off and on in Wisconsin. So if you're in the Wisconsin area, go check out John Jackson Miller and get some books signed, and then go back and listen. There was so many things he was talking about. Like you can still get a cover, a signed book plate for the book if you turn in your receipt at the website he gave, which was really long. So I'll try to snippet that and get that from the show from earlier. So, but John's a good guy. So
He also said that it's set 1 year before Phantom Menace.
yes,
So for all of you that want to try to go May 4th, May 3rd, May 4th, I was just going to say, Joe, because you told me you might not go, I got tickets for May 5th with our friend Brian.
okay.
So I'm going to be going to the re-release of the Phantom Menace. But this is set right before with a lot of those like bit characters that are sitting in the throne room.
Correct.
So you get to see a little bit of that. He called it a little bit of a buddy cop. So there's like a buddy cop possible comedy that's going on in that too. I thought Other Guys, but I don't know if it's quite that. But
Other Guys, Lethal Weapon, good call on all that kind of stuff. So,
I saw Dune 2 over the weekend, fellas. I did.
did you get the popcorn bucket?
No, it would have tempted me too much once I got home.
Wow. Okay, we've got Steve Glosson listening. We can't go into the popcorn bucket talk
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, I mean, you can only get that movie theater butter at the theater, so.
Whatever, pink eye. How are the pink eyes
Yeah,
doing?
that's true.
Sith eyes.
Your Sith eyes over there.
They're slowly turning white again. It's crazy. Yeah, that's what I was like. I forgot my eye drops. I came down with it on Saturday while we were traveling for Easter at my wife's parents' house, And yeah, we went and saw Dune 2. Like the last hour of it, my eyes were like burning. It felt like I had sand in my eyes.
Yeah.
So, well, Alfie's got some
Alfie's back.
some
He
camera.
must have turned his computer off and on.
So I will
No,
say
I'd
this
actually
about
switch computers.
Oh, okay.
the thing about Dune 2, everyone who talked to me wants me to love the movie so much.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not saying it's a bad movie in any type of way. I enjoyed it. But like it didn't change my life. And I'm not going to say it's the best movie I've ever seen.
Steve says Dune 2 burned your eyes. Yeah. Yeah, D-Doc, we talked about it after you went to it. I saw it with Tom Line, friend of the show, and Massengale, friend of the show. And I was just like, guys, it was okay. I mean, but I mean, it's not, yeah, it's not going to make me. I was like, if this is how they're going to keep making these, I don't need to come back to any more of them. It was okay, but it
Yeah.
wasn't like, oh man, I can't wait to see the next one. So,
We
Not
got
the
oh, sorry.
no, that's all right.
I just wanted to see when the human mates with the worm to create the shared consciousness of the man worm, because that will happen eventually.
Okay.
We got out
I'm
of the
being
theater.
serious.
I know, I've heard.
We got out of the theater and my wife said, "What'd you
Look,
think?" And I
did
said,
you see Boogie Window's comment? Because what was the first thing I said to you when you said you had pink eye?
He said fart pillow.
Said who farted on
Okay.
your pillow?
So what we've all watched, what is it? Not was it 40-Year-Old Virgin? What is it?
Knocked up.
Knocked Up. I knew it was
Yeah.
from those same kind of people.
Dude, that's the level of pink eye that I had. I was wearing sunglasses for Easter because I'm like, I can't have people look at me like this. And there's two versions of it. 'cause
Hide your eyes.
I've gotten pink eye before, and usually you take the eye drops and
And it
it's
goes
gone
away.
like
Yeah.
in a day. This one, it was just like, nope, those eye drops aren't doing anything. So apparently, there's some kind of viral version of pink eye, and it
All right.
stays around.
Well, let you know what we've done Dune the Galaxy, we've done Pink Eye the Galaxy. Let's first of all again say thanks to John Jackson Miller, who was
Thank you.
part of it, and just he's a great guy, great author, lots of fun. Go get his book, April 9th, Star Wars: Living Force. Guys, we have 2 Bad Batches and a Tales of the Empire to discuss, and I will say. Tales of the Empire, when you guys sent that across today, at first I was like, really? Is this another fake thing coming out? And then I watched it and I was like, that ain't fake. That was really cool. I loved that we're going to see Barriss. We're going to see Morgan Elsbeth. We're going to see the Grand Inquisitor, Grand Admiral Thrawn, Darth Vader. I mean, the list goes on and on. I really, and Alpha, you were pointing out Easter eggs in there. I'm really looking forward to that. I like the Tales of the Jedi. So if it's going to go in that direction with this, I'm all for it. Anybody thoughts on that?
Yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I'm just like the Acolyte. I'm excited for it. Give me stories from the bad guy's point of view, and I'm all here for it.
Okay.
Was there anything in the rumor mill for this? I'm zoning out because I'm like, you need to do 2 episodes because I can't have that Dune popcorn bucket joke in with John Jackson Miller's episode. I totally forgot.
We're splitting. We'll split.
Why?
Split.
Why can't you have that?
No, we'll do 2 episodes. We'll
I
do the John
understand that, but why-
Jackson and we'll do.
Yeah, everybody knows the joke. I mean,
Nah, that's
there's
true.
hardly
Okay.
a soul that saw that popcorn bucket and didn't think that.
So-
We're back on Dune again. Let's go with the Tales of the
It's-
Empire.
it's my
You know
fault.
what- You know what you didn't do this time, what you normally do is go around the horn and introduce everybody because you've been on for over an hour. These guys haven't been on, and I've only been on for a little bit. What I want to say prior to talking about the Bad Batch is that last week was probably one of the pinnacle weeks of my Star Wars fandom. Maybe week and a half. Like, I haven't had a better Star Wars week in my life. Starting with writing the Falcon 14 times. Then I had an interview with the Armorer, followed up by Claudia Gray. I mean, like, it was kind of one of those things. Then I went on Friday night and played 2 games of Legion and like 12 games of Unlimited at the game store for like 8 hours. Like, dude, my nerd level was on peak last week. So I just wanted to say, like, that was like I was waiting for you to do the introductions. So I'm taking over. You're wanting to jump into Bad Batch talk right away.
Go. Hey, it's your show, brother. Go run it. I love it.
That's all I got.
I would say I was very excited for you. I know you sent me some messages. You had been asking to have Emily Swallow on the show for quite a while. Emily was nice enough to come on and talk, and that was great. You guys did a great interview. I even got the one question answered that D-Doc didn't ask. And she said, I look back and I can't remember if I met Matt Lanter. So that's all I need to hear.
Shocking.
Yeah. And then
shocking that one episode of that one time with that one guy. 8 years ago.
If I'm Chris Farley, right? I mean, that was awesome. That was so cool.
Time.
That's right. But Brent,
awesome.
I forgot how much you really enjoyed Lost Stars, and to see you have the time that you did with Claudia and discuss it, I could tell you were just really pumped about that as well. So I know those back to back, and then like you said, wrapping the Falcon ride in as much as you got, and then finishing off the week playing Legion. I know you had to be in Star Wars heaven there. So I'm really happy for you. I'm glad that we could do something that got you that pumped up. So D-Doc, Alfie, let's follow up Brent. How about you guys? Let's do your introductions now. Anything going on Star Wars world with either one of you?
Oh, no, not at all. Outside of this show, I hardly think about Star Wars on a day-to-day basis. So no, nothing really much.
Okay. D-Doc has getting over the pink eye and went to New York for Easter, so he's back now. So that's good there. And you probably got pink eye from your in-laws' house. I know they're probably listening. Just tell them that's where you got it. But yeah, overall, it's been a very cool thing, and I just look back at it and I say, I sometimes pinch myself to think that 4 goofy guys right here. I mean, that's not even talking about Alfie going to the Indiana Comic Con and seeing things there and being a part of that. We've had some really great experiences. We've done some really cool things. Can't believe the people we've talked to. And Brent, you brought it up when we were talking to John Jackson Miller. I mean, Claudia Gray, John Jackson Miller. We met Timothy Zahn, Drew Karpyshyn. The Kevin Scott, Jason Fry. We've gone through the list, the laundry list here of authors and people doing stuff with
we
the book.
talked to Timothy Zahn for like 20, 30 minutes.
I know. We should have recorded it. We should have.
It still blows my mind.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, let's face it. This has been a really cool experience. We've had some really good things happen. And now we're getting to a point where, coming up is the re-release of The Phantom Menace, which is going to be fun. We've got this new material coming out. We're finishing up on the Bad Batch. So there's a lot of great stuff going on right now in the Star Wars world. So, here we go. Wow. Boogie Window. Thank you. Wow. Love it, Boogie.
Celebration. You're going all the way out to Tokyo, but you can't have 420 off.
Wow. So, hey.
Business is booming that day.
Really?
That's true.
You are correct. I saw a comedian one time and said, we've got the pot stores now, and that's kind of cool because you walk in, everybody's like, dude, you want to go over here and get this like blueberry mist? It's really great. But it's like, think if we had meth stores or if we had cocaine stores, it would be really wild what the salespeople were like when you walked in there. So, but to go along with that, I mentioned it earlier, July 13th, April 13th, Star Wars night at the Indy 11. It's going down. We're probably going to have some Indy 11 people on here soon. If you're around Central Indiana, heck, if you're around Indiana at all, and you want to go to that game, 501st, trivia, all kinds of things going on. Star Wars night at the Indy 11, April 13th. Go check it out. We'll talk about it more before then. So that's going to be fun and cool, and we'll see what goes. I can't wait. Maybe me, Joey, my wife, or grandson, maybe go check all that out, and hopefully we'll see some people there. Boogie Window, thank you for the explanation. My 3-week vacation because your wife is from Korea, going to hop to Japan for a while. Love it. That's good. Now, my wife is from Indianapolis, so unless the celebration comes back here, I don't think we're going to Celebration anytime soon. So, We've talked a little bit about everything, even farts on pillows and things like that.
You know what else we forgot to talk about?
Hit it, Brent.
Like and subscribe. We're live on YouTube. If you like the content, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to let you know when we go live.
Yep.
Share it out. Do whatever you can to spread the word. If you like the content that we provide, we love to provide it, but it really does help the algorithm and it spreads the word of who we are. Like and subscribe. Rule the galaxy.
Subscribe.
And subscribe to us on podcasts because we're on any podcast platform of your choice. We're out there. We're everywhere. And you can always reach us. Look for Rule the Galaxy anywhere, or you can just email us, rulethe.galaxysw@gmail.com.
Hit us up on Twitter. Did you mention that?
We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook.
Yeah.
We don't live on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, or TikTok like we used to, but Twitter, we're on it live all the time. Guys, what do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about Tales of the Empire? Do you want to talk about Identity Crisis or Point of No Return? I'm open for any of it.
Let's hit it.
Yeah,
Somebody-
I'm
somebody
open
take the
for any
lead.
of it. I'm open for any of it too because I had to catch up on Bad Batch, so I watched 4 episodes last night actually. So I had missed a couple weeks in a row, which, you know, the first thing that came to my mind after finishing 4 episodes of the Bad Batch was Alfie, and I'm thinking to myself, Alfie is right. That the best episodes in this show are when the Bad Batch are not in the episode. I can't. It's totally true.
So you think, and I don't know what number they are, you think the first episode
10.
this week was better than the second episode this week?
Way better.
It was dark. I was building a Lego while I was watching it, and I didn't get much done during that episode because it really just kept me locked in on it, and it was disturbing. It was like it was a disturbing episode of a cartoon, and it's like, this is how the Empire kidnaps these kids, and they literally do not care. Like they don't care at all, one bit.
Yeah, Cad Bane's an asshole.
He is. I used to think Cad Bane was cool, and I'm just like, you know what?
He's a bounty hunter.
He really
What
is
made you
a
think a bounty hunter is cool?
Do you have my money?
Well, they are pretty cool, but he's still an asshole. I mean, if you think about it, just his relationship with Boba Fett makes him a gigantic a-hole. He had a rivalry with Jango Fett as being the greatest bounty hunter in the galaxy. And since he could never beat him, he raised his son and trained him to be his rival, so in hopes that he could then beat him and take over as the best bounty hunter in the galaxy.
Which one is the better one?
Well, in the end, Fett did kill Cad Bane, so he's
As far as
left
we know.
standing. As far as we know. No one's ever really gone.
I will say
Not even
I
tech.
agree with you, D-Doc. The first episode was better than the second episode, but I do think seeing the tech goggles in the second episode, I do think seeing the tenacity of the troopers that showed up on Boca Raton, and I think seeing Omega have to turn herself in, even though no one there wanted her to do it, that was her only choice to do it, to try to save anyone else. She had to do it. I just hate that we could not get that tracker going on the ship. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on those two right out of the blue.
The blue saber has to be, interesting.
Yes, first episode was crazy sad. Lady in the Blue Saber and Tales of the Empire has to be Luminara, right?
Yeah, that would be an interesting twist in Tales of the Empire if Barriss had to kill Luminara, because she is dead and Rebels. So when she
was
actually died,
captured, yeah.
does that mean because she was on Kashyyyk? So did she survive Order 66?
Maybe her
Was she
thing
killed on
to
Kashyyyk?
maybe the thing to prove to the Empire and the Inquisitors that she was ready, she had to kill her mentor.
Yeah, I'm liking that idea.
I do too. Like it. Go ahead, D-Doc.
Now, there's one detail on that second episode that I don't want to miss out on. Has Omega been friends with that girl like throughout the show, or was she a new character introduced? Because I was like, I didn't remember her, and that's kind of, there was like a shrine area where she left the goggles, right?
Thought they were friends last season when they
They were.
went to the island.
Yep.
Okay, so I just probably did just that probably.
It's
just
been
slipped
so
my
long
mind.
since they had those characters back on the show. Just
I
like
mean, I think it
the
also
clones that they saved, the two kids were getting ice cream or whatever at the beginning.
I think it also goes to show that how long they've been on the island, right? It's a
Very
way
true.
it's a way to show that they've been on that island for a long time, that they are a part of that island, and that they are actually Boca clone natives now, or considered Boca local. That's kind of another way to look at it. I think another way to interpret it.
The thing that just bothers me about this episode is that another ship didn't get seen landing on this island in the exact same cave.
Yeah.
You think that they would have realized that, hey, maybe since the Empire's hunting for us and one person did it, maybe we should tighten up security a little bit. I do know that you could say the ship was cloaked, but
That's
does that
what I
mean
say. Yeah.
people from the ground can't see it? Because it's not a very big island. Can't
Mm,
If
hear
you're
it.
not looking, if you're
It's
not looking
Boca
for it, then
clone.
you're not going to see it.
I think they were all kind of getting drinks and lounging.
Yeah,
You know, it's a beach
But-
resort. So-
Hunter's specialty is tracking and all
That's
this
what
stuff.
I'm more. That is what
Yeah.
bothers me more, is the fact that Hunter is supposed to be able to.
And see,
sense
that's where
shit.
I have the opinion that the best episodes are when they're not in the show, because it's like they can't really come up with a good use for the Bad Batch.
Okay, so let's talk about that first episode, because Brent and I brought up something briefly before you guys hopped on, and it was, how great was it when we have already discussed that the Emperor gives everybody just enough of what they need to know, but not all they need to know.
Right.
So to see that even Tarkin, who everyone assumes, as Brent said, is the right-hand man, who knows everything that's going on, even Tarkin didn't know what Hemlock was doing. And Hemlock was like, I just need the money. That's all you get to know. It's classified.
Yeah.
That's it. And it pissed Tarkin off to no end that he couldn't know what was going on. That was awesome.
And that's kind of a theme that goes all the way into the sequel trilogy, because now Exegol has been there since the beginning, and he's been building this fleet of Star Destroyers that absolutely no one knows about.
You brought that up. Are we going to see Exegol in the last episode of this?
I would think that would be a logical conclusion, that whenever Mount Tantus gets attacked or whatever and is
Then they have to
compromised, they
move.
move somewhere else.
Okay. Go ahead, D-Doc.
I couldn't help but to think when Tarkin was telling him, like, you know, if you screw this up, you know, it could. I think he said something essentially like, it'll be the end of you, you know, if you screw it up. Here's my question: do you think we're going to see Darth Vader, you know, in this?
Yep.
He
You know,
was in the trailer.
Hemlock goes bad, and they're just like, you know, Palpatine can kind of like, you know, just be like, we need to wipe this out. Send in Vader. Vader, go wipe all of them out. Pretend this never happened. I don't know. Like, I pictured Darth Vader going there to just clear the work site, essentially, after whatever the Bad Batch does to make the project fail. Like, that's a vision I had.
Okay.
Did you guys notice the data pad that Hemlock had that he was looking at when he was talking about activating? They weren't activated yet, or something to that degree.
The other troopers, or what are
Yeah.
you talking about? Yeah. Yeah.
And that if you look at the screen, it showed it a few times, but not only were the troopers in pieces, but they had jetpacks. And
Really? Sounds
little-
a lot like Grease
little
Cargo.
digging, they were almost a 1-for-1 image of the Phase 1 Dark Troopers.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Everyone in the galaxy is keeping what they're doing in cloning personal secret. I think have someone who specializes in cloning post Republic era is like having a guy that you didn't talk about. Okay, I got you on that. Quinlan survived Order 66, and he was with her on Kashyyyk. There you go, Alfie. You got your answer. Which now, you know, talking about Bad Batch, you mentioned, are we gonna have Quinlan meet back up with Asajj and have something to do with this going into the next series or
Boy,
whatever.
it seemed like a really nice setup, right? So we got some kid Jedis, and Asajj
Mhm.
was very interested in Omega and being young, and that she would need to go off and be trained.
Yep. No, I agree. Very cool. Very,
And then,
very interesting.
I hate to speculate, as we like to say, but man, it just seems like awfully convenient too that now we're getting a Tales of the Empire with Barriss and Inquisitors, and Barriss and Asajj have a lot of history together,
Yep.
and the Inquisitors on all the shows seem to be like they have their own little Jedi that they're hunting. So, I mean, it seems like we're really setting something up here. And then again, it could just amount to nothing.
It's Brent. It's what you and I spoke about last week. I don't go in with too many expectations. I go in with high hopes, not expectations on any show, movie, animated series, live action. But I love when things connect. I love when we can see some things coming together that you go, oh, this happened in the prequels. Oh, and it comes all the way back to touch points in the sequels. It just makes my heart happy when I see stuff like that.
Well,
Yeah.
I thought when I saw the announcement today, it made me think of what's her name's appearance on our show, Nika Futterman. So I'm wondering
Mhm.
now, she wasn't given any love in the promotional posters and but would that be would she show up in some of those stories as well? Is it possible only because of what she said on our show?
Yeah, I think she'll show up on this at the end.
I agree. I
some
think you're going to
degree.
see some of these bounty hunters showing back up on this, and I think a good title for the next series, if you want to throw it together, just call it the Path of Enlightenment,
Path.
the Path,
Mhm.
Star Wars, the Path, and it's these little things going on behind the scenes until we get to Rebels or until we get to Rogue One or whatever. I think that would be some good fun stuff. So go ahead, D-Doc.
It was funny to watch all of the previous 4 episodes in a row, though. This is relating back to the second episode from this week. You have Asajj show up, and the guys are so protective of Omega and everything. And it's like by the time I got to the most recent episode, I'm like, why is your plan to just sit on Boca Raton and wait for something to happen?
Mhm.
When
No,
she
but they were-
specifically said, "You're not
Get
that
out."
hard to find."
Yeah.
Yep.
And they finally do decide to, pack up and get out of there. But it's like, I don't know. Doesn't seem like the best plan. I feel like if you don't want someone to find you, I feel like you got to keep moving around. I don't know. It just seems like poor planning on the Bad Batch's part.
I agree. I look. I guess this is the writers. This was the choices they made, but it probably would have been pretty good for them to get out of there before this happened. But it is what it is. This led us to Omega having to turn herself in to save everybody else, and that makes there we go, booking your vacation. Yeah, that makes
Remember
it
to
where
use
it
that
is
Roll the Galaxy promo code, 10% off,
10%.
And a free drink.
free drink band.
Is it a blue
Free
milk?
drinks?
Did we get a blue milk at the
Yeah, with
Boca
a
Raton?
little rum in it.
Okay. So overall, happy with the 2 episodes. Again, if it would have been more fluff in the second episode, I would have been ticked off. But I love that you had some hell raining down from the troopers and the village getting messed up and going door to door and knocking people around to try to find Omega. I loved all that. I almost was at a point where I wouldn't have been sad if Wrecker would have gotten killed right there. I would have been kind of meaningful that he gets blown away by bombs, which is what his specialty was, and he was trying to save everybody and all that kind of
Well,
stuff.
and he did save Gonky.
Yep,
So
saved
it would have been
Gonk.
a fitting in.
I would have been okay with it because let's face it, he's not somebody who's moving the story. He's just there as a big brute who likes to yell and blow stuff up. So yeah, that just crossed my mind. It was like wanting Leia to go ahead and die in The Last Jedi. I was kind of that same way with Wrecker in
she
this
survived.
episode. Oh, she Mary Poppins and she's back. Okay, Wrecker got
just
back out
made
of
it
the
worse.
water. Yeah. So you guys feel okay, pretty good moving along with Bad Batch? Like they got some good key points, and now we gotta. I mean, let's face it, Hera, Chopper, Vader, none of them have shown up yet, and they're all in the trailer, and there's 4 episodes left. So
I feel pretty good about it. I mean, I enjoyed the episodes. Again, my complaint is just that I think this should have been done a lot sooner. Dropping this whole Jedi children facility on us here with, only a few episodes left. I get what you're doing, but you could have made so many more episodes that much more enjoyable if they'd had an ongoing storyline like this.
okay, creating an arc of it to where you're seeing kids
Yes.
coming and going, the ups and downs of it, all that kind of stuff. Okay, D-Doc.
Now, how are they going to track them? Because Crosshair missed the tracking beacon. So, he didn't take his 5 minutes to do some yoga before he took the shot. So what do you think?
I have an idea. So Asajj Ventress showed some things to Omega. And Omega might not be totally Force adept. But as Brent said, when you're up against it, when you're facing the end, that's when the Jedi stuff, the Force comes out of you. You notice how she was taking deep breaths and like really concentrating and
Right.
focusing there at the end?
Like
I think
Gunji taught her.
See, I think she's going to look and use that meditation, maybe reaching out, something like that, to where some Force adept person is going to feel that, sense that, something like that, and pull them towards where she is.
Oh my gosh, and she just met one like 2 episodes ago.
The pieces are connected.
Wow, I never saw that coming.
Asajj saves all the children, and Omega goes to learn the Force with all of them. And the Bad Batch dies along the way.
I think a better ending to this series would be for Omega to make a deal with Hemlock to let everyone go, and she stays.
Oof. Interesting.
Yeah, or she could be a part of the skeleton crew. No.
Skeleton
No.
Crew is 30 years.
Oh, she.
Oh, no. Skeleton Crew is not 30 years. It's like 15 or 20 years after this, isn't it?
All right,
I
she's
know,
too
yeah.
old for the skeleton crew.
But I will say this: Asajj Ventress, it's like those characters we see that start off and you think, man, they're totally evil. They're going to stay evil. The redemption occurs, right? She's already redeemed herself with the whole book and the Dark Disciple. But you remember, she was taken young as in the Tales of the Jedi. She was taken as a youngling. But then when she lost her master, and then Dooku popped in, right? She was mistreated. There were some bad things going on in her life to where if she gets a chance to go save some kids like this, that's going to feel like some redemption for her to be able to turn that around.
Yeah, like why she wears the snake on her pauldron.
Hit us with the snake again. I remember it, but I know it.
Snakes are misunderstood because of the way they look and seen as being, dangerous, or let's say the serpent, so evil, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are.
Okay. See, Alfie's brain. That was from some drawings that never got used in Clone Wars, right? And then they put it into this.
Right. Yeah, she has the snake on her pauldron now.
Yep. So very cool. I
just
come
like
on.
saying the word pauldron.
Pauldron. That's a
Pauldron.
good thing. You need to have a pauldron in all actuality. I think you'd be
Wouldn't life just be better if we all wore pauldrons?
No.
Yeah.
Women did it in the 80s and it was terrible, so no.
Okay.
No, like badass, Clone Wars pauldrons, like Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, Captain Rex.
They're coming back.
They're
We
coming
can make it a
back.
thing.
But I don't want to wear a pauldron.
Everybody
Look.
wants to wear a pauldron, Jerry.
Look, I will tell you that you will not be mid, you will be Sigma, and you will bring the Riz with the pauldron.
I'm doing it. Now I just have to think
I'll be
what
standing
animal.
on business wearing my pauldron.
Yeah, that's yeah.
I'll just have a plunger on mine.
You know what that means?
Yeah, Joe, you completely used that in the wrong term.
I have no idea what it means.
It's essentially junk in the trunk.
Hey, which by the way, I did hear that D-Doc used Flick My Bick in last
He
episode.
did.
So
Yes,
thanks,
He did. He brought it
D-Doc.
up.
Never forget, man. That was the first episode I was ever on.
The
You
classics.
can't forget these things.
The classics never go away. I mean,
I mean,
They always come back.
It looks like my brother's on my old YouTube name. W. Pauldron Riz.
oh gosh.
Yeah,
Okay.
we got a J Doc appearance in the comments
Old
section.
J Doc.
J Doc. It's a shame I didn't get to meet up with him when I was out in the Philly area.
I know.
He probably gave you the pink eye, right, J Doc?
J Doc just had his first child this week.
Oh,
So I'm an
congrats.
uncle.
Congratulations.
Uncle Dave.
Yes, I'm fired up.
Wow.
you
First,
can corrupt another youth.
Yes, first time. First time uncle. I've had kids for a while now, so
Man, that kid's gonna have a mullet, have Vans, and be playing drums very soon.
there you go.
New Doc in the world.
He'll,
Thanks.
he'll write down all of his songs on his blue sleeve paper too.
C Doc. I love it.
Yeah, his name is C Doc.
There we go. So Tales of the Empire, are we feeling good about that? Did they say how many episodes it's going to be? Yeah, they're
6.
shorts, right?
I believe
like-
it said 6 shorts is what I remember. I could be completely wrong, but
Okay.
I feel like I saw somewhere it said 6 shorts, essentially just like the Tales of the Jedi.
Nice. Okay. I feel good about it. I liked the Tales of the Jedi stories. The animation looks incredible. Thrawn is in there. Morgan Elsbeth, Barris. So there's a lot of great stuff going on. A lot of things.
Do you know
Good.
Grievous?
Grievous.
Grievous,
Yeah.
that one is awesome, but you guys are glossing over the one that I think is going to be the most impactful.
Where's Steve Glosson over in it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
The one with the new character that I've never heard of before. It's Wig Wing. There's one, if you look at the pictures that they showed, and I don't know, but there was one with the character there's characters I've never seen before. And all I can do is that's all I can say. I can't tell you what. I can't
No
tell you
idea.
any more than that because all the other ones had names of people that I've seen before because they said here are the voice actors for it. And there was one, and I believe it said it equals wing or wig, which is
Okay.
and there was a screenshot of that person with a fleet trooper behind them and some alien in front of them that I don't know. And
Yes.
it was an Asian looking face. Am I
They
correct, Alfie? Have you seen that before? Have you seen that character
and they
before?
had like the Republic. What is that? Is it a cruiser that Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan were on at the beginning of the Phantom
Oh, yeah.
Menace? That was sitting behind them, and then there's another shot in the trailer where Morgan is walking away
Is
from
that
that.
with Morgan? That was with
Yeah.
Morgan? Okay, see, I didn't know that was with Morgan because I haven't been able to see the trailer. I just saw screen grabs from
Yeah, they are meeting in that courtyard from the episode with Ahsoka from The Mandalorian, and essentially
okay.
say to her that you said that if we join the Empire,
Yeah.
they would provide things would be better, or something along that line.
So is that like so that would be then the leader because if I remember correctly, when Ahsoka enters that village or when they enter that village, she runs into a character, and all of them had an Asian feature to them in that.
Right.
Okay.
He was in one of
That's-
those electrical things, wasn't he?
I don't. That's why I didn't know the character. Like that was why.
Yeah,
I
and
was
then at the end of the episode, he walks out and he's the magistrate again, or something to that.
yeah, I
extent.
think he was like somebody. Okay.
And then
Gotcha.
we also get to see the Inquisitor from the Ahsoka series in there, correct?
He was
Morak.
in there, and so was the first brother from Tales of the Jedi.
Oh, okay.
The one that she fights at the very end
Right.
of her 3-episode arc.
So
That's
was
an arm.
the fourth sister from Kenobi, and it showed Barris as an Inquisitor. It did not show the seventh sister or the ninth, I think.
So the lead one from Kenobi was not in there. The one who kept getting stabbed in the stomach.
Reva?
Reva.
No,
I didn't see Reva, no.
Okay. All right. Well, that's
but it could be just half of the shot, or
yeah.
could
Right,
be
she
that
could
they're
still be
not there
right?
yet.
Right.
Do you think we'll see the origin story of how she got the Beskar spear? Because it showed her deflecting blaster shots with the
Right.
spear at one point in it.
Yeah, at one point it shows her using the like scythes That's what she's fighting General Grievous with, and then when they're on that Corvus planet, she has the spear.
Yeah, and it looked like she was deflecting like blasters. So I don't know. It would be interesting to figure out where she got it. I mean, it's pretty cool. These are characters that I didn't expect, especially Morgan Elsbeth. I did not expect to see a standalone, story about her, but I think it'll be an interesting story.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, there's a lot of things we don't know about her, so it'll be good to get some of that before we go back and look at.
But these are going to be
Ahsoka.
shorts. Sorry, I
Yeah.
interrupted. These are going to be short, so we're talking 10 to 15, 20 minutes max.
Oh yeah, I would say 10 to 15, right?
Vision-esque length of time.
Agreed. It's okay. That's enough to wet the whistle. It's enough to flick the bick. So
There you go. There it is.
yeah.
Yeah, you can get it done in 15 minutes.
Wow.
Especially if you got
And
that
then he
popcorn
takes a sip.
bucket.
He takes, especially with the popcorn bucket. Is it
Boy.
after dark? Is it
No,
after dark?
no, it's not even 10
Yeah,
o'clock.
I
It's
said
8 o'clock.
asshole earlier, so
Yeah, but it's fitting, and that's true. He is.
He is. He definitely is. Now, this proves that they listen to us because I'm pretty sure after Tales of the Jedi, we were like, we need Tales of the Empire Star Wars. Like, we were saying that.
Yep.
So,
There you go. Right now, Filoni and Favreau are watching us live saying,
writing it down.
"Yep, gosh,
Ooh,
these
that's a
guys,
good one.
These guys are on it, man. These four guys who don't know much really do know some things.
How did they figure out the end of this already?
Didn't see that coming. Oh gosh,
love
yeah.
Missed it by that much.
Come on, you know where that's from, right? Missed it by that
I
much.
knew that one. Yeah, I knew
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
one. That's why I said
Okay.
it. Get
Um,
smart. I mean, you just got to get smart to be able to pick up on that one.
that's right.
I see what
Maxwell
you did
Smart.
there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I
All
mean,
right.
Instead of Order 66, we have an Agent 99.
Any other points that we need to hit or cover on this? Any other talking points? Anything we've missed?
So, is there more to the layer? Because they talked about you'll have access to the subterranean levels and this vault. So, what's the subterranean levels? Am I wrong?
No.
Hemlock said you'll have access to the subterranean levels and this vault. And when she walked into the vault, it was the kids. So, is the
So-
subterranean? Go ahead.
Yeah, so there's a second vault because that was not the Sith vault that the Emperor walked into.
Correct. The Emperor saw something completely different in the thing he went into. He was not looking at those kids, right?
Right. Because it had all the like runes on the floor.
I'd have to go back and watch it again. But it looked like the laser beams were the same laser beams, but that could be just their security measures.
They look like the laser beams from Phantom Menace at the end when Obi-Wan was separated from Qui-Gon.
No, it wasn't. I thought they were laser lines where I felt like those were a wall of lasers.
That scene bothers me so much. I hate that scene in the Phantom Menace.
I love it.
I
When
was
a
like
kid, I thought it
screaming
was
on the
awesome.
inside. Why don't you use the Force to open it?
Because
he wanted
then
to
Darth Maul wouldn't get a chance to pace back and forth looking at him. Like, come on.
And
It was
Obi-Wan
a really
faced-
cool scene. Really cool scene.
I just
Mhm.
farted in this chamber. Wait till that door opens. Come get me.
I mean, I get it. It was really, really cool, but that just bothers me. Just like the Buzz droids in Episode 3. Why don't you just use the Force and knock them off?
Right. Just gone.
Aren't you a
That's
Jedi
not-
Master?
That's not the way the Force works, right? Han told us that.
Oh, you're cold?
That's
Sorry.
a classic line. That was so good.
Thank you. Ryan McGee likes it. Go ahead, D-Doc.
One other thought on Bad Batch. What is Ahsoka's or Ahsoka? What is Omega's sister's name? The older version of her,
Dr.
again?
Emery?
Emery
Dr. Em-
Carr.
Dr. Emery. What do you think it's something with Omega being a clone that she didn't feel empathy towards her when she was a child who was in prison there? Because it's like she started seeing all these kids there and starts feeling terrible, and then she looks at Omega's, doll that she
Mhm.
had. And do you think that's the first time like she realized like I was using a child as a prisoner before. Like something in their code that
I
like,
would think so, but and then again, you don't see how she lives, so maybe she didn't think it was any different than what she does because they're clones and they kind of have that "this is our
Right.
job, this is what we do" mentality.
And I don't think she knew that there were more kids, and I think
Right.
she felt that there might have been a motherly connection, right? Something that I didn't talk about the motherly connection, but I don't think that she knew that there were other kids there, and it really shocked her when there were other kids there, and I think that was the first. Like everybody has a aha moment that the Empire sucks, and I think this was her first aha moment that the Empire really does suck.
Yes.
yeah. And then they have like a fresh baby essentially show up,
Mhm.
and she's just like, this is like a baby, and the clone trooper's just like, good. They won't know what's going on then.
I
These
really
clone
did
troopers
like
gotta die, dude. They gotta
Cad
die.
Bane's dialogue in that scene too, when he told her that the questions you're asking give it
Yep.
away.
Yep.
Basically, I know what you're getting at, and I've already figured it out. So be careful because eventually they
Yep.
will too.
Yep. I noticed that line too, and I was like, caught something there. Yeah. That was good. It's
I
good
really-
to see. It's
I
good to
really
see
like
Cad.
that we finally got a name drop for Scorch in Delta Squad.
Oh yeah.
See, you're paying attention to stuff. I'm zooming through it, trying to make sure I see it all, but you always catch all those little things.
I only know because they're coming out on May 4th for my game. The Commandos are coming out as a squad, so people are all talking about them. So when I heard that the Delta Squad, and I know that what is it, CT Scorch.
Mm-hmm.
So I know some people who are playing the game will really like the fact that he actually showed up in this game or in this Bad Batch.
Well, good. Scorch it is then. It's a good name for a trooper, I think. Leaving
Oh, yeah.
scorched earth behind. I think that's good. It works well.
Yeah, that's lit.
That's that is.
It's a banger.
Well,
Boston.
well,
You guys are so 2017.
I've been going for a while on this, so I'm ready to close up shop when you guys are. I think we covered everything. We got a good interview in with John Jackson Miller. We'll release that. We've got great topics here on the Bad Batch and the Tales of the Empire, which I'm kind of pumped about because I like the Tales of the Jedi. So if it keeps going like that, this series ought to be good. And let's face it, we're on a Final Four countdown for we're on the final countdown for Bad Batch. So what do we have? We don't have any more double episodes, right? It's 4 straight weeks.
Final countdown.
Let me see.
They should end it with a double banger, in my opinion.
It might be a longer episode, but 1, 2, 3. Nope, they're 4 separate episodes. So I think the last one might be longer, but it's not like 2 episodes. So, but we'll see where it goes. A lot of stuff going on, boys and girls. Omega's out on her own. She's probably using the Force to reach out to somebody.
Another
A lot of
prison
stuff.
break.
They don't have to break out of prison. You just said they don't have to.
One
Well, they have to
out.
try.
Well, so say Alfie, there's one way out, as Claudia Gray said.
I was going to say that was probably one of the best things about the end when you said one way out. So he said, may the force be with you. I said, this is the way. And it took Joe 15 minutes to shut down. And then she said, should I say one way out? And then we ended it.
Yeah, it
So
was pretty
she's a
cool.
huge Andor fan.
Yeah. She said she'd come back and talk Andor with us during season 2. So we need to do that. She was a good guest. Lots of good topics. But guys, thanks a ton. I appreciate you always doing this. Glad we got John Jackson Miller on before his book. Go check it out. April 9th, his book comes out. April 13th, Star Wars Night at Indy 11. A lot of crazy stuff going on. And then we've got The Phantom Menace, and we've got Tales of the Empire. A lot of stuff going on. Into the Bad Batch, and D-Doc showing off all his Legos there. So Brent's going with his Legions. D-Doc's got his Legos. Alfie's just glad he can be on screen tonight. Anything else going on? You guys ready to close up shop?
I'm
We
good.
good?
I found a VHS player on the job site that I'm working at
Oh,
that I'm taking
man.
home because I don't have my VHS player is probably either thrown out from my parents or what. I don't know. So I'm going to bring that bad boy home and throw in my original Star Wars VHSs that I had when I was a kid and see what differences there are. What,
Well,
what is he saying? You're welcome to me for.
It must be for the VHS. But what I will say is, D-Duck, if you
What is
need
it?
any help getting any VHS tapes or anything, you got a guy right here. I know how to track down things, even if they're pirated.
Walmart.com.
Yeah.
Luckily, I have bins of all of. I told my parents when I left, even when we were younger, I said, "Oh, the Lego, yeah, Joe did get that for me. Thanks, bro. That was my birthday present." But yeah, I have bins of VHSs, so I'm going to make my kids be like, "Watch this. This is what I had to do growing up." Although DVD did come out when I was in grade school somewhere,
Oh my
but
God.
it took a while till we could get a DVD player.
I was in college when I got my first DVD player.
Mm,
And
I'm not even
when
going to talk
the
about
first the first movie I had to flip the disc over because of
it.
Did any of you guys have Laserdisc? Because this is something that I
Joe?
never even
Yes.
knew existed.
Alfie, you had it?
Alfie
My
did.
cousin had it, and I vividly remember watching Star Wars.
Somebody
not.
It was
Somebody
amazing.
we knew had it. I watched Superman, the one, I think it's 3, the one with the Zod in like the mirror. Is that 2? Okay.
Too.
I watched
2.
Superman 2.
Well,
So we got a celebration for Joe. He did Peace. Let's see if it does it for me. No? Okay.
how did that even happen? I don't even know how that. I don't even know how that just happened.
I don't know, but I loved it. Guys, you guys are the best. Thanks so much. We'll talk. We'll put some more plans together. To our listeners, followers, everything else, like, subscribe, follow us, all those kind of things. Thanks for always being there. If you're in Indiana on the 13th of April, go see the Indy 11 and Star Wars Night. We'll have some more promotion on that soon. And until next week, which we don't have a guest lined up, so it'll just be Star Wars talk. May the Force be with you.